Okay, my guys. AB, AO, Alex, and Alex. Thank you guys for coming. Meet me at Kollective. When I grabbed you guys the other day to do this podcast with me, I just wanted to let you guys know from afar. I see like a story, right? I see, okay, the season started, but you guys are putting in like the effort that no one sees behind the scenes. You know, whether it's year one through five or year five through 10, it's just like inspiring to see, okay, you both are here every day, day in and day out. You may get the call, you may not, but you're ready. You're both, I mean, you guys are in shape, you know? So am I, but you guys are in shape, you know? So individually, if we can just, I know you are, people listening probably know who you are, but if we can get just kind of like quick intro, don't feel rushed on your journey, your profession, what year you're in, and where we're at right now.
Cool. Alex Okafor, 9-year NFL vet. I played for 3 teams, got drafted to the Arizona Cardinals back in 2013, was there for 4 years. Then played 2 years with the New Orleans Saints. And then the past 3 seasons I've been with the Kansas City Chiefs. And shout out Super Bowl Live Champs 2019.
Big year.
Yes, sir. The best year.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, man, just like you said, staying in shape, waiting on a call. I know injuries will happen, and when it does, I'll be ready to go.
Appreciate that. AB?
Alex Bachman, wide receiver. I'm going into year 4 right now. Originally from Southern California, went to school at Wake Forest University. I went undrafted to the LA Rams, had an injury right there, and then was able to make a little career at the New York Giants for the last few years. Call that home. It's been up and down,
Right.
constantly, but just trying to keep pushing through and play ball as long as I can. Really,
Absolutely.
you know.
And you're good at it.
For sure.
If you guys can talk about that kind of correlation, 2019, great year. And Alex, you just had best preseason you've ever played, right?
Yeah.
With the Giants. And yet, I mean, you guys know the political side and how football and the league is, but both of you guys currently in that seat waiting for the call, and yet just came off of like some of your best performances, Can you guys talk about just like the highs and lows of that journey? AO, if you want to start.
I mean, just in the NFL, man, you learn real quickly that this league isn't fair. Whether it's injuries, whether it's politics, whether it's just a ton of stuff you don't have control over. So, I mean, the biggest thing that everybody preaches is control what you can control. And it's the truth, because things ain't gonna go your way in the league. Just like you highlighted back in 2019, I got a Super Bowl ring, but I didn't get to play in the Super Bowl. I ended up tearing my pec, I want to say a couple weeks before the Super Bowl. I was having one of the best seasons of my career, and I was devastated when that happened. But, you got to look on the positive side, and trust me, I'm glad I got that ring. But it just goes back to me saying, shit ain't fair in this league, man. You just got to adjust.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around a lot longer than I have. I'm still getting that. I mean, every year it just continues to compound, and it's like, oh, here we go again, and I always say, like, you can never get too high, never get too low.
Right.
And I think, I mean, like, Odell's a perfect example, right? Like, he's going from Cleveland to LA, hadn't been getting targets, now he's getting targets, balling out, gets to the Super Bowl, and then the moment he's been waiting for his entire life, like AO, like, tears his ACL. So then you got the emotions of, I got another injury that I got to rehab from, come back from that.
Right.
But I have a Super Bowl ring, So for me, I mean, it's very similar. I thought, I mean, I've been scratching and clawing since I got in this league to try and stick and just try and get an opportunity. And like AO explained, there's this the politics and business of the league that you can't control. Guys will come in, they're getting paid more money than you. So, I think that's the thing that was most frustrating for me is when growing up, I always thought it was about winning and that everyone just wants to win. You play the best players,
right.
And it's not, because it's a business. And so when there's money going around, guys are trying to protect their pockets, make themselves look good with their job. GMs want to show everyone that they know what they're doing.
For sure.
And because they're trying to, protect themselves and their families. So on my side, I thought after 4 years of scratching and clawing, this preseason I led the league in receptions. So I set a franchise record for most catches ever in a half um, in New York history. And so I was like,
Right.
what else I gotta do? I'm winning my one-on-ones in practice. I'm catching every ball that touches my fingertips.
Mhm.
I'm making plays on special teams.
Yeah.
So it's hard when you feel it's almost debilitating when you feel like, dang, I literally did everything I possibly could,
Mhm.
and I'm still like sitting here right now, week whatever 3 or 4 of the season,
Right.
and I'm on the couch. Like, what else
Mhm.
I got to do? While other guys who didn't do anything
Right.
are getting paid right now.
Mhm.
So um, you really got to, like AO explained earlier, just kind of organize your thoughts and understand that like you can't be emotionally attached to
Sure.
outcomes as hard as that is, because at the end of the day, we don't have control of outcomes. We only have control of a limited amount.
Right.
And it's, our attitude, our effort,
Mhm.
the way we show up and prepare for work every day. It's like right now, what can I control? I come in a collective, we work out, we go hard. I try and focus on my recovery, my
Mhm.
hydration,
Can
and
you
just,
can you
yeah.
guys speak to that right there? You said, control what you can control, the thoughts, right?
Mhm.
And I talk about this too. It's like, you know, when you're done scrolling, when you're done hanging out at the gym or with friends or with, wherever you might be, at some point you're alone and those thoughts start getting loud. I assume even we touched upon this on Sundays, when you want to be playing, but you're home right now. Um, I think it's a true skill that often, because we do this in silent, we suffer in silence with those thoughts. We end up developing a skill to be able to persevere and get through those moments. But I'd love it if you guys kind of talk about your process, like when Sunday comes around. I know
Mhm.
you have your fiance.
Mhm.
I know for the most part you have a great friendship and community with a lot of people in town, but at some point you guys are alone.
Mhm.
So if you guys can just touch upon that.
Yeah, for me, I mean, at this point, watching footballs on Sundays is hard. Like, I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like, it's hard to watch games on Sunday just because you can be out there making an impact. It's one thing if you know you can't play this game anymore. It's another thing when you know that you can still give a little bit to the game. So knowing
Mhm.
that it's hard to watch on Sundays, what I try to do is I try to take that feeling that I have on the couch watching the game, and I try to bring it in here into collective and
Mhm.
and use that as motivation. I
Right.
never forget that feeling, and I take it to push me a little bit harder every single day.
Mhm. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, and it's easy to act like you're strong, you're tough, you're mentally. I got the fortitude to handle it. Um, this round, I didn't handle it as well as I would have liked to. I mean, there was a lot of bitterness and
Mhm.
frustration. I mean, I went through every single emotion like possible. So I mean, I'm probably on the phone with my parents or one of my siblings or a friend of mine every single day because it can take you to a dark place.
Mhm.
I mean, those first couple of days, I lost a lot of weight those first couple of days out of after I got released, and then just making the decision to not come back on P squad. That was one of the toughest decisions I've had to make. But you got to live with that and understand your value. But yeah, I mean, Sundays it's tough. I watch a little bit,
Mhm.
because I love football. But at the same time, like AO said, it's tough watching somebody do your job for you that
Yeah.
you're capable of doing. Um, and then
Mhm.
the comparison is just the nature of the game. I mean, that's what's built on. So like, it's easy to compare yourself to another guy who's out there who's not performing very well and saying like, I could be out there doing
Mhm.
that. Um, but I try and make sure I take time to myself and talk to God and just read scripture. I think that's really important. But
Yep.
also like you mentioned, like staying busy. So I try and whether it's going on the lake, wake surfing. I love the golf.
Mhm.
Just doing things that take me out of um, that I guess negative headspace.
Right.
Um,
I call those like, non-negotiables. Like each day I have these non-negotiables that I know will bring me peace, joy, or happiness, whether
Mhm.
it's working out, pickleball, playing with my son now,
Mhm.
or whatever it might be. Even days like when I'm going to get a haircut, like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I know these things are going to make me feel good. These are small wins that I need to get through the hard times.
Mhm.
So I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Ayo, if you don't mind being the vet in the game,
Mhm.
and I was talking about this with Amendola before. How have you been thinking about after you're done playing ball,
Mhm.
investments, other industries to get in? Have you
Mhm.
done any of that already? What are you thinking about doing?
Yeah, so, just throughout my career, every little bit of extra money I had, I'd save up a little bit and put a little bit into real estate here, a little bit into real estate there,
Mhm.
and, just kinda get my feet wet as I'm going throughout my career. And now that I'm on the backside, my wife, she just got licensed here in Texas,
Amazing.
about a year and a half ago, so
Shout out to her. She's putting in the work in here
there
too,
we
side
go,
by
Kaylee
side.
Okafor.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Pushing those sleds. Yeah.
If you need, shout her out on IG, Closing
Okay.
with Kaylee.
Got
There
it.
we go.
Got it.
But no, just since then, now that I'm on the back end, just kind of transitioning out of the league, I'm taking that real estate, taking her, what she's doing with it, just kind of build her up with it and continuing to put money into the portfolio that I have.
Mhm.
So
What's that feeling like? First big check contract
you talking about in the league
in the league.
as a rookie?
Yeah, whenever it
Oh
was.
man.
I don't know. I would love for you both to share
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more about upbringings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would imagine no matter what your circumstance was,
Mm-hmm.
you get a big check
Right, right, right.
guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good day.
Right. No, I mean, going into the league, everybody has that one big ticket item that they want. So whenever I got my first check or my signing bonus, I went out and got an Audi. So
Nice.
so that was my thing. I had that on my mind all through college,
Hmm.
all through training. Once I got that check, man, I probably blew it before it came in the before it
Before
dropped
the
in the
ink
bank
dried.
account. It
Uh-huh.
didn't blow, but I trust me, I had that Audi before the check
Hmm.
cashed. But I learned real quick that this doesn't last forever. So, you
Right.
got to save what you have and
Hmm.
slowly but surely put a little bit here, put a little bit there.
Hmm.
And
I
that's what I've
think
done.
Bach, what you've been able to do really is special. Being early in the league and having the highs and lows, right? Obviously, haven't gotten that contract or ticket that every athlete is aiming for, but you own a home. You are smart. You are very strategic about what goes in, what comes out. If you can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's a financial advisor for Merrill Lynch.
Hmm.
So as a kid, I thought his job was boring. I didn't know how cool it was to have a financial advisor as a father until
Hmm.
I got older.
You learn a lot.
And he's definitely made me a lot of money.
Hmm.
Just based on like, I mean, he had a credit card under my name when I was like 15, and he was just
Amazing.
building my credit, um, doing stuff like that. And so yeah, I mean, I've always been really smart with how I spend my money. Like I would get whatever $100 from grandma on Christmas. I never spent it. I mean, when you're a kid, I started to realize at a young age, like there'd be something I really wanted for Christmas,
Right.
and I would get it, and I would use it for like a week or two, and then I wouldn't even want
Right.
it anymore. So I just started saving my money. I had the privilege of working jobs
Hmm.
on TV when I was little, still making residual income on that.
Yep.
Um, so in terms of I haven't gotten that contract that AO has, so I'm really trying to make sure that all that money that comes in, that I
Hmm.
make the most of my time in the NFL. Um, I mean, because like P Squad, I mean, we make solid money, but it's not forever money.
Yeah.
And I mean, my signing bonus coming out with I signed with the Rams undrafted, $5,000 in my signing bonus. Like
Hmm.
that's what I had.
Right.
So and with no guarantee of anything else.
Hmm.
So that knowing that I have no guarantee of income, that I could make anywhere from like whatever $0 to $800,000 this year, like I have to be smart in the offseason with how I spend my money
For sure.
because if things go south, like you
That's
know.
that.
So, but for the most part, at the end of the season, I take my money and I put a specific amount away instantly to investments.
Hmm.
I'm hoping to get in more real estate. Austin's market is great,
Yeah, it is.
and I'm trying to expand that because I don't see it slowing down here.
Hmm.
Um, but and then my dad, I go talk with him at least once a week, just based on like stocks and
Right.
what we think. And I mean, even with a bad year, I'm up like 45% this year. So just
Amazing.
he really knows what he's doing,
Is
and it's been great.
Austin forever home for you guys?
I mean, I'm originally from Pflugerville, so I've kind of gotten to like grow with
Okay.
the area.
That's where
My,
Jay's at, right?
yeah, that's where he lives right
Yep.
now. But yeah, so I've kind of got to see the city change. Pop still lives out in Pflugerville,
Mhm.
little brother's out here. So, got wifey to move out here from LA, which
Amazing.
is tough to do, but it worked out. So I say all that to say I'll be out here, so
Yeah.
it's my forever home.
Mhm.
I'll definitely keep my real estate out here. I'm young, I'm 26. I don't got a wife, no kids.
Right.
So, I really like
Remember
the
those days?
yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Felt like forever ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the area. I mean, like, the public schools around here are great. It'll be a great
Mhm.
area to raise kids, but this place is expanding quick too. So, like, and the prices are going up. So,
Yeah.
what is this place gonna look like in 15 years? I
Mhm.
know I left California for a specific
Mhm.
reason. So, for those same reasons, if Austin turns kinda into California,
Sure.
but I will still hold my real estate,
Mhm.
and continue to, just use it to, grow and
Yeah,
expand.
absolutely. Coming from New York, I'd walk everywhere, maybe take the subway. You
Mhm,
know, now I'm for the most part in dripping. I'm doing this 35, 40-minute drive every day,
mhm,
and
It's
I'm
it's
getting
it's
I'm getting used to it. It didn't
mhm,
sound like much before. I was like, "Oh, whatever,
mhm.
35 minutes." Now I'm like, "Damn," you know?
well, it's also because Austin hasn't been built for the amount of people that are coming
No
in
way.
at the
Mhm,
rate that it is.
Mm-mm.
So, like, coming from dripping, there's not really it's a highway, but
Yeah, you have
there's
like
not freeways. They need to expand. It's 2
you
lanes.
can't
Like,
yeah,
the
wait.
amount of people that are coming in, I think it probably takes me already 10, 12 minutes longer to get downtown than it did a year ago.
right. Yeah, it's
So,
pretty wild.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Talk to me about, the training. And, I mean, I see you guys put in the work, right around this time, are you guys really dialed in? Like, is the volume turned up? Or are you taking it back a little bit?
I mean,
Well,
for
yeah.
me, I just came off training camp, and, I mean, I'll work relentlessly in training camp. I won't miss a practice.
Mhm,
I'll roll an ankle, do stuff like where I'm not even really supposed to be practicing.
mhm,
I'm just pushing through because for me, I'm out there fighting for
mhm.
my livelihood.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm gonna do everything I need to do. I mean, I take painkillers, whatever I need to
Right.
do to make sure that I'm available.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I mean, I take every rep I can. And so by the end of training camp, my body is beat up
Mhm.
because I just feel like I went through war.
Right.
So I do get those few weeks where I feel like I might need to tater back a little bit,
Mhm.
just to get my body to recover. And like right about this last week or so is when I start to like, all right, turn it up. I want to make sure when the team calls, wants to work me out, whatever,
You're
that I'm
ready.
in shape, that I'm sharp, that I got all my strength and
For
speed.
sure. Any, are you is the pec completely healed up?
Yeah, so the pec was a couple years ago. Pec is fine. I feel great. Just kind of piggybacking off what Bach said. The challenge for me, I wasn't in training camp, so the challenge for me is trying to gauge where I'm at
Mhm.
without actually seeing it physically. So I can't go to a training camp and see if
Understood.
I'm in the proper shape. I can't do all that. I kind of just have to guess
Mhm.
off of what I know here. But at the same time, you got to be able to push yourself hard while still staying fresh
For
because
sure.
you don't know when you can get a call. So I
Right.
don't want to go out here and squat 500 pounds and I get a call tomorrow and now shit,
Damn.
I can't
Right.
even work out for the team I'm trying to play for. So just kind of finding that fine line and that fine balance
Mhm.
has been the toughest thing for me so far.
What Jay and Mo run here with the off season guys, I would imagine I think of like Last Dance, right?
Mhm.
Where Jordan holds the practice in between shooting Space Jam
Mhm.
and just to get good quality work, but also it's a good way to just kind of see where you're at. These are people I might be playing against, lining up against,
Mhm.
and you're moving fat. You're here hitting that 100 meters on the sprint faster than them. You're
Mhm.
lifting heavier than them. Those are nice little competitive edges, I would
Mhm.
imagine. Is that a
Yeah.
good place for you to kind of gauge where you're at?
And that was honestly perfect. Like that's all I had this offseason to gauge off of was kind of that elite week that we had early July. And I maximized that. I made every workout. I made sure that, I've been out here just training by myself this whole time. So with all those guys in town,
Hmm.
let me really see where I'm at against all those
Sure.
guys. And I kind of use that to kind of, test the temperature on where I'm at conditioning
You've
wise.
known
So
Jay for a few years now.
yeah, yeah, we used to play together in college at UT.
So I would imagine for the last several years or
Hmm.
majority of your career, you've been doing these off seasons with him.
Hmm.
Okay. How have you seen it grown?
Man, I've seen the whole journey. So me and Jay, we both graduated 2013.
Hmm.
He's a year older. He redshirted. But immediately, right when we graduated, obviously I'm doing my off-season training. I forgot what he was doing beforehand, but I remember one off season. It might have been either my rookie year or my second year, one of those off seasons. He just decided he wanted to start training, and it made sense because our strength coach at the time, Benny Wiley, Jay was like his little sidekick. That was like his little brother. So I mean, it all makes sense that he got into this field. But one time he was I think he was somewhere north off like 183 or something. One time he was like, "Hey, just throwing it out there. If you need a place to work out, somebody to work you out, I'm available." Jay was my dog, so it was a
Amazing.
no-brainer. We were literally the only people at that place. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if Jay was paying rent at the spot. Like, it looked like you broke into that thing.
Yeah. That's okay, whatever it takes.
But ever since then, man, I've kind of followed him everywhere he's gone. It's just been cool kind of seeing his journey. So
What are you seeing young Bach here
what do I
compared
see
to compared to a lot of
in
the
Bach?
athletes, receivers you've been around?
More than anything, he just puts his head down and works, man. He's kind of just told me his story over the past couple of years, and you know, it goes back to the first question we talked about. This league isn't fair. There's a lot of politics on it. But one thing about him is he don't let it get to him. I've seen a lot of guys kind of go off the railing just because they let all the outside influences get to them. They lose sight of who they are, what they want to accomplish.
Right.
That's not the case with Bach. He's locked in. More than anything, he just doesn't let his circumstances kind of eat away at his mentality,
sure.
and that takes a lot of maturity.
Yeah, most of the things, the hard times, you gotta remember they're temporary. Don't let it consume you. You know, just stay the course, do the things you do really well every day, and you know, you'll get through it.
Appreciate it, yeah. Thanks.
New York is a monster of a place, you know.
Yeah.
I'm from there. I know a lot of the guys you suited up with, Saquon, Vic was a good buddy of mine. Obviously, he played a few years ago. Shep, all those guys are nuts. Freak athletes too. Can you talk about anyone specific that like really stood out on the team?
One specific? To be honest, my last this past off season, Tyrod Taylor was just a guy that I just watched him and just try to mimic his habits. I mean, he's got to be, I think he's 33, 34. He moves like he's 23.
Wow.
First one in the building every day.
Okay.
One of the last ones to leave. That's always been something I've prided myself on. So I mean, I didn't have a car, so usually I was hitching a ride with the other guys that were in my apartment complex. But I asked him one day, I said, "I'm gonna mimic everything you're doing,
For
like,
sure.
you know, from your morning routine."
So,
And so I asked him what time he was gonna get to the facility. He said 5:55. I roll up at 5:55 and he's already there.
amazing.
And so everything that he did as a morning routine was something that I was mimicking. He's just reserved, like just a true pro. And I just saw that I took a lot from that. And I try and take bits and pieces from
For sure.
everyone I come across, but that was something that just really popped out.
Yeah. And I'll tell a quick story. New York is definitely a place of some highs and lows and lows. And we were all out at dinner at Catch. We don't have to name names, but it was what was fun to see, and also just like another true testament to like your work ethic is like we're in a room full of people that are paid, been paid, or about to be paid, and you know it's very easy to get caught up in like, oh, I got what they got, you know, or I'm just gonna continue to this. The fact that you don't drink, you know, the fact that you don't get caught up in the late hours. You know, New York does not sleep. You know what I mean? There's always
I've
somewhere to
heard.
be. So that's one was a fun time, but two, just like really cool that you are really about this. You know?
Yeah.
Um,
It's a no regrets mentality.
yeah, for sure.
I've seen a lot. My dad's continued to preach that to me. I don't have the same room for error that a lot of guys have.
Right.
And like I said, we talked about the politics of it earlier. Some guys have major job security because their money is guaranteed. I don't have that.
Yeah.
So I know I got to do every single thing in my power to give me an opportunity and a chance. And if I don't seize that, then it can disappear and I will have to live with that. And I don't really feel like having to live with that feeling. So I'm willing to sacrifice now. What's the quote by Muhammad Ali? He's like endure or go through it right now so you can live the rest of your life as a champion.
Yeah, so funny. Amendola, actually, that was a big quote that he
Suffer
said
now.
too. Yeah.
He said suffer now. So
For
I'm
sure.
like,
Suffer now so you can live the rest of your life like a champion.
Mhm.
That's absolutely right.
and I'm not an instant gratification guy. I don't believe
Mm-mm.
in instant gratification. I believe in holding off and just sacrificing and going through whatever you need to go through, whether it's comfortable or not. I don't believe anything really grows in the comfort zone. So I love people. I love socializing. I love being with my teammates. But I also know that there's a certain limit and standard that I have set for myself that I try and hit every single day,
Right.
and hopefully it pays off in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let's talk about playing with the Chiefs. Like,
Mhm.
is there anybody that stood out? Obviously, you had a decent quarterback.
He's not bad, huh?
Yeah, he's not bad.
Man, one thing that stood out about that team, and I played for some good teams in my career. When I
Mhm.
played for the Cardinals, we went to the NFC Championship. That's when we had Bruce Arians and Carson Palmer and that whole team. When I was in New Orleans, that was the Minnesota Miracle team and
Mhm.
the pass interference against the Rams. So I've been on some good teams. I think what separated that team in 2019 with the Chiefs, man, is, and it might be cliche, but it really was a player-led team. Like accountability was held within the locker room. And I feel like that phrase is like worn out, like it's used so much that like it doesn't even mean anything anymore. But
Mhm.
Because
if you
everyone wants to have a player led team, and everyone talks about it.
everybody wants to, but it's hard.
But few actually.
Few. When I say few, I mean like
Yeah,
5%.
yeah.
Like it's like low. So I feel like that term doesn't even hold any weight anymore. But that's really what we had during that year was just accountability within that locker room. Like any issues we had on the field, off the field, they were getting handled before we got onto the practice
That's
field.
amazing.
And I think that's what separated us that year.
You guys mentioned watching right now, seeing people playing your position.
Mhm.
I do this with boxing too. I'm like, oh God, I go in there, I beat this guy up. You know what I mean? You know,
It's gotta be a little different with boxing.
yeah, a little bit, but even just the same notion of like knowing that that should be your spot. You can perform that
Mhm,
spot much more efficiently, and also appreciate that spot much
mhm,
more. Um, Behind the scenes, like in training, I mean, you kind of see like funny videos here and there, guys lining up, guys doing routes. You know, you see this with Ocho all the time. You know,
mhm,
or Terrell Owens recently, just
mhm,
smoking people.
mhm.
You guys ever do anything like that? Like make it competitive within the team?
You should go in our locker room. It's all competition all the time,
Yeah.
and you know, I mean, you walk in our locker room in New York, we have a basketball hoop. Guys are shooting shots, putting a little money down. Ping pong tables,
Yeah.
no one plays for free. I paid my rent my rookie year playing ping pong. Just taking money.
Yeah.
Um,
That's funny.
but there's a little putt putt thing.
Mhm.
I mean, there's cars being guys are competing because that's who we are. Like these are the most competitive guys in the world.
Right.
Say well, he's like Michael Jordan. What was that competition that Michael Jordan? He's like who can throw it closer to the wall without touching it.
Yeah.
Like I mean, say will compete against
Mhm.
you in anything.
Right.
And I would say I mean Saquon. Like
Mhm.
he's super competitive like me. So that's why we got along is because we're
For
always
sure.
trying to compete with one another. And that's with anything. But yeah, real competitive locker room. Like, we get after each other and things just outside of
And
football.
you were there that day. There was a little scrap, right? I think it was last year
Oh, where?
in New York.
On the field?
I think with Shep.
On the field?
Yeah, on the field. Or was it on the field or was it in practice?
I mean, there's always
there's always a little something.
guys are always going scrapping. Like,
is that right?
Yeah.
when guys get tired and
Mhm.
it's hot and uncomfortable and guys get a little frustrated, then there can be
Yeah.
some
Some
blows.
Yeah, some hostility comes out here
Yeah.
and there, and that's okay. What would you say is next for both of you guys?
I mean, I'm still focused on the now. Like I'm
Mhm.
gonna make sure I'm in a position to help any team that calls.
Perfect. It's the right answer, right attitude.
Live in the
Yeah.
present.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, like I mentioned earlier, just real estate. I mean, I don't have a long-term plan as of now because I'm still fully invested
Mhm.
into my athletic career. But
Right.
whenever that's complete, I'll slowly, sail off into the sunset
Yeah,
off
for
real
sure.
estate.
We spoke about this briefly on the turf. It's like, uh, shout out to a good client and friend of mine, Kyle Samani and Brian Smith. These guys are in the crypto space and have done
Mhm.
extremely well. And you mentioned some interest there.
Mhm.
And I talk about this too. That was kind of like the idea with Collective is, one of you guys could be on the turf or maybe in the sauna after a workout, and then right next to you is this person that's at the pinnacle of that career or that
Mhm.
craft. And there's a moment of like, yeah, maybe they're in awe of you, but at the
Mhm.
same time, it's like, no, 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 I can learn from you. Like, let's go
Mhm.
break bread. Let's do something together.
Mhm.
Um, have you guys seen any of that yet? Just being members here at the space, like where you've had conversations with members that aren't athletes and
Mhm.
made some connections. Have you guys personally had any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think here Collective is just like this is probably 90% of my relationships in Austin stem from here.
Hmm.
And who I met here, and then maybe I met someone here, and they introduced me to someone else. Um, I mean, I'm constantly just meeting people, finding out what people do. Um, I mean, the culture here in Austin, Texas. I mean, at Collective specifically is like it's like second to none. It's one of the reasons why I came out here.
Hmm.
There's no one too big time to talk to you. Like, um, just that's why I love Austin. I feel like I came here with open arms. I made friends and relationships and networked. Like every day, I felt like I was just meeting somebody
Hmm.
new. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a unique space where you can come and you know it's a exclusive group of
Hmm.
people, which is what makes it special. And
Hmm.
I think it's just going to continue to expand. And I know Jeremy has plans to keep growing and expanding and
Big
new
time.
locations potentially. And um, I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, no, I mean, Collector's a really cool space. I feel like you can literally just walk in here and whatever career path you want to go on, you just ask somebody, "Hey, do you know anybody in this field?" And they'll be able to point you to somebody.
Hmm.
For sure.
There's not many places in Austin, but just anywhere that's like that. Um, to be honest, with Kaylee, my wife, we're flipping a home right now, and the people that we're working with, that we actually met here at Collective. I
Oh
was
wow.
working out with Tim Riley, and one
Hmm.
of his clients, Tyler.
Yep.
He's doing home flips, double play flips, and I knew that was something that me and Kaylee wanted to get into. So it just kind of worked out, and I didn't have to go any further than the Collective to get
Yeah.
all the information and connections we needed.
That's awesome.
So
Those are the stories that like really make us light up because that's what we wanted.
And Tyler's also an ex-athlete.
Yeah.
Played baseball.
Hmm.
mhm.
So like seeing
You guys
him too.
race by any chance?
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
race for a little bit of money? I heard.
Y'all
Yeah.
raced?
Yeah.
You get them. I'm
I gotta
hoping.
pull up
Come
this.
on,
I wish.
bro.
I was,
Come on.
Hey, yo,
I felt bad for
there's
asking, but I
a
had to.
there's a photo, and shout out to T.
Don't try me.
He's awesome. Shout out to Tyler. He's great.
Mhm.
Family man, works his ass off. There's a photo at some point we'll pull up, and all you see is Bach looking,
Behind
smiling at
him?
the camera,
Oh.
like ahead by what would you say? We don't have to
I
discuss.
don't remember how long the race was,
Yeah, it
but
was a short
I
race. He was ahead. He
I
was just
wasn't I
smiling.
wasn't worried.
He was just smiling, and then you see Tyler a few paces back, just fighting for life, and it was just hysterical. But that's also another cool thing, right? It's like
Mhm.
you got Tyler play baseball and now doing real estate, and you guys can go and connect and have fun outside of the gym and grow and do business together. So stories like that are really cool, man. I know personally, I've been able to diversify quite a bit just from being around here, and learning
Mhm.
from guys like Jeremy or Devin upstairs, and
Mhm.
so that's super cool. Have you guys personally got a chance to go meet some of the medical team, Sam Snead or Alexis, things like that? How has that have been for you guys? Like just having it all in one space.
Mhm. Man, Dr. Sam, I've been working with him for a couple years now,
Hmm.
so I'm familiar with what he does. Alexis, I worked with her for I guess 2 years now.
Hmm.
I was up there at REI with her up north, and then I guess when the collective got made, they just took all the bosses in town and put them in one location.
Yeah.
So it was funny whenever they opened up this spot. I literally knew not everybody, but a good amount of the staff.
Hmm. That's great.
Um, but no, I think that's what's dope about this spot. There's not many places that athletes can come in, and I just say athletes because I'm speaking from my perspective.
Hmm.
There's not many places where athletes can come in the off season and it's a one-stop shop. Like usually you got to go here for the workouts. I got to go here to get the recovery. I
Hmm.
got to go here to get the PT.
Right.
It's really cool to have a space where you walk in and you can knock all that out back to
For
back to
sure.
back. So,
Like when I first came here, the place that I had previously been at, I went to for recovery. I mean, it was PT, acupuncture,
Mhm.
whatever. So I was there, and they took my insurance because they took NFL insurance,
Mhm.
which was huge because that isn't really. I mean, our NFL insurance is
Mhm.
second to none.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really costing me much. So when I came here, I knew they had PT, and I asked, like, "Do you take insurance?" And at that point, no, it was a no. So I was like, I can't do my PT here. I gotta find someplace that does.
Mhm.
So that was an inconvenience. They ended up changing it up, and now obviously it's super convenient for me.
Amazing.
Sam, I mean, like, I come in, he needles me. I mean, more times than not, I can barely walk out of the building after
He goes
he's
hard
done
with
with
the
me.
needles.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Then you're moving
no
like a
one.
machine after.
Yeah, exactly. Then the next day I feel super fresh.
Mhm.
So no one does it like Sam. And I worked with Alexis for a little bit. Congrats to her, by the way.
Another
New
baby.
baby. I had
Nice.
texted
Number
her
3.
and asked her if she was available. And she said, no, I just had a baby yesterday. And I did not know that. So
Okay, talk to you soon.
yeah, I was like,
Right.
all right, my
Bye-bye.
bad. My apologies. But I've been working with DJ lately.
Yeah.
And just making sure that my body's prepped and
Ready,
ready and feeling
ready.
good. It's not there doesn't that's one thing with athletes that I mean, as I've grown older, I've learned that you don't have to be something doesn't have to be wrong in order for you to be getting work done on your
Correct.
body. Don't wait for
Mhm.
a mishap in order to get work done on your body. You're always, and we call it,
Mhm.
prehabilitation, like,
For sure.
making sure that everything is moving right, corrective exercises,
Mhm.
so that doesn't turn to something later on.
Big time.
And so that's always something I'm doing.
Yeah, that's super important. And I know you are really good friends with Les Spellman. I've never met him, but he's obviously world renowned and great. I don't know if you've worked with him or know him personally.
I'm not familiar, but I
Um,
know the name.
but you've coming from a place where you've done off-season work with him, is that right?
It's
And
my big brother right there.
yeah, how is it? He Nashville?
He's not in Nashville. So I have like a training problem probably in every city just
That's
because I've
great.
traveled around.
Sure.
Jeremy Holt, shout out to him. He's in Nashville.
Mhm. We're gonna be working with him when we open up there,
That
which
is
is
true.
great.
Yep. He got the right guy for sure.
Mhm.
Les works out of Southern California. I met him
Okay.
through Mamba Sports Academy when I was doing my draft
Mhm.
training, and now he works out of San Diego.
Yep.
So he's just one of those guys, man. He just I've never seen someone dive into so hard into wanting to make wanting to make athletes better.
Mhm.
He just, I mean, with no attachment to the money or anything, he just does it because he loves it, and he gets just major. He's fulfilled just
Mhm.
by seeing us succeed
For
on
sure.
the field or on the. I mean, he works with all different athletes, but
Mhm.
he works relentlessly. I mean, I call the guy at 3 a.m. He's up,
That's amazing.
and he's just trying to get uh, stats and numbers and study it in a way that he can change the game.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. Uh, and he's what introduced me to Jeremy and
Okay.
Collective when I first came out here when I was trying to find
Mhm.
the place in Austin to train. And so
Perfect.
yeah, it's crazy.
What's I mean, nutrition's a big part of it. Obviously, you guys are machines, pretty big guys. So to a certain extent, you can just throw it all in, but at a high level, you're not just doing dirty, carb loading or your nutrition.
Mhm.
So it's like, what right now would a diet look like on a solid week of consistent training and good sleep?
Man, you're
You're a bigger
saying
guy,
right
so
like right now for me?
yeah, like calories. Like, are you counting them? Are you being very cautious?
Mm. So
I see you out there Sunday brunching sometimes.
I do. So it's a little different for me. Like I'm a little older, so like I know my body. Like when I was younger, yeah, like scheduling out meal plans, like counting calories, all that type of stuff to make sure you stay in the box that you need to be in.
Mhm.
But as I'm older, I could just feel these things now. So during the off season, try to lose a little bit, stay down because I know during the season I gain a little bit as the season goes on.
Right.
So just to answer your question, during this time, lean meats, um, all the good carbs,
Mhm.
all the good complex carbs, the healthy simple carbs, the brown rices, all that type of stuff. Um, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, I hear you. I
It's
hear
a
you.
feel type of thing for me, but obviously you got to eat clean. It's just
Mhm.
I know what I'm doing,
For
so
sure.
I
You
just
said you gain weight during the season?
yeah.
Oh, I lose weight
You
every
lose weight
time.
during the
Every
season?
time.
Wow.
It's like a slow incline. So I like to come in like 10 pounds under because it's like every 2 weeks I'm gonna put on a pound and you got to account for
Wow.
that.
I mean, for me, you touched on the alcohol thing. I don't touch alcohol from I mean, barely at all in general, unless it's a special occasion. But from 4th of July to end of season, I don't even touch it.
Mhm.
I mean, people talk about wine and the
Yeah.
you want the benefits of wine, eat grapes.
Right.
Um, but other than that, I have to consume calories at a massive rate because I lose
Yeah.
weight so quickly if I don't.
Right.
I remember when I was doing my combine train, everybody had their like pre-made meals and stuff. I came in with donuts in the morning. I had In-N-Out burger for lunch. I was doing everything I can to try and just maintain weight, and I actually was
Right.
building muscle really quickly doing that. I look at my protein, especially in the off season, make sure I'm consuming enough protein to where I can really build muscle.
Mhm.
But other than that, it's just making sure that I eat and hydrate in general.
For sure.
The hydration thing, along with sleep, are the two things I focus the most on,
Mhm.
and that's another reason why I don't drink because
Right.
it affects your sleep. Like the Whoop apps,
Mhm.
they'll be like, I'm only 20% recovered, even though I
Right.
got 10 hours of sleep. I'm like,
Mhm.
well, because it has that effect. So as long as I'm sleeping at least 8 hours a day, my dad told me when I was younger that we looked at it, the top sprinters in the world sleep at least 9.5 hours a day.
Mhm.
So I was trying to do that, especially when I was coming out of college. Life gets busier, obviously.
Mhm.
You got other things
For sure.
you got to handle. I'm homeowner now. I got tenants, different stuff like that. So that can take an effect on that. But I try and get them out of sleep, hydration. And then obviously I'm making sure I'm at least consuming my meals. My mom's always texting me, "Are you eating?"
Right,
Making
right,
sure you
right.
eat.
I get that
I don't
text
care what
too.
it is. Making sure you eat.
Shout out to mom.
So shout out to mom.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's real cool. I feel like nowadays with all we know, there is almost a blueprint for the optimal, machine or
Mhm.
human, do you guys ever do anything like blood work? I know you touched up on having meals a little bit when you were
Mhm.
younger and a chef maybe and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but do you go that extra mile and do quarterly labs or annual blood work?
Mhm.
Have you guys ever done any of that yet?
I know when I was in New York, they did blood testing on us, and I got like a whole pamphlet or a whole book, I guess,
Okay,
that told me because everyone's body responds differently
for sure.
to different things. Like you have allergies to things that you didn't even know you had
Correct.
because it may cause a little bit more
Mhm.
inflammation than like
For sure.
eating like avocados, for example, might cause more inflammation for me than it does for AL. Like
Mhm.
everybody's different, and that's really cool. Um, but other than that, I haven't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I struggled with injuries real early. Well, I struggled with injuries throughout my whole career, but real early, I was getting a lot of soft tissue injuries and I couldn't figure it out. So we went to the next step and did some blood work,
Mhm.
got all the food allergies, got all the intolerances, all the
Mhm.
stuff that you're deficient in. And ever since then, I kind of made sure I did that every single year.
Great.
So like every single year, once the season starts, that's just kind of something I start with, just to see if any of that blood work has changed. And just for me, just so I can get like vitamin packs for what I'm
Yeah.
deficient in, make sure I'm eating clean.
Mhm.
Like Bach
I
said,
actually do have that stuff now. I think about it.
yeah,
It
like
just
Bach
becomes such
said,
a habit that I mean, but continue. Yeah.
no, no, he's right. But like you said, you recovery is everything. So if
Mhm.
you can gain an edge here by reducing a little bit of inflammation because you're not eating this food
For
that
sure.
your body negatively reacts to, you're gaining a little bit of edge.
Right.
So that's really what this game is about,
Mhm.
just finding ways to create that competitive advantage any
For
way that
sure.
you can.
Big
So
time. Talk
Yeah.
about this, like going out of the tunnel, right? Whether it's to the boxing ring or to the stadium on the field, it's like doing the things before that moment, checking
mhm,
all those boxes, eliminating all the guesswork, I call it.
mhm,
That's why I'm a big advocate on blood work and, understanding what exactly is going on to have that competitive edge, to make sure you're healthy. There shouldn't be a moment at this high level, whether it's you're a crypto or hedge fund manager or an
mhm,
entrepreneur or an athlete or an aspiring athlete, there shouldn't be like, yeah, I think this worked out, my meal. I
mhm,
think the training made sense how I paired this superset together. There's a way to have an answer for all
mhm,
that. And I think that's the biggest message I try to like convey in people,
mhm. And ultimately, you gotta invest in yourself too. Like,
for
you gotta
sure.
give yourself that advantage, and you gotta
Oh
put
yeah.
the work in, so,
Big time.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
mean, it goes outside of the gym too. Like, I mean, we talked about sleep earlier, but I mean, and I forgot about this because it becomes such a habit, but supplements that I take, I'm taking fish oil, I'm taking multivitamin, I have a B12 every day. I take, um, what else do I take? Magnesium before I go to bed. Magnesium is really good for your recovery.
Yeah.
I do take, I cycle creatine, um, but I'm just doing all that because I remember there were certain things that I was more deficient in than others.
For sure.
Calcium, I gotta limit calcium because sometimes I have too much of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, like AO spoke on, just create an edge for yourself.
Yeah.
Because your room for error is like, your one injury, and that's why you got to be careful with
Mhm.
not working harder, but working smarter,
Big
as we
time.
talked about earlier. Because last thing you want to do is you set yourself back
Mhm.
by doing something like off the field or
Right.
going too hard.
I use this ref every now and then. You get a client that I'll work with, or a company that would want to do like maybe a corporate membership or a situation like that. And there's always a moment of like they have an I for example, if a company comes in, I know they're allocating a certain budget to their employees, like health and wellness as a benefit, or if it's just the founder himself and he wants to come in and do all of these things. But there's always that little song and dance of like what they're willing to spend and what they're not. I actually reference sports teams often in those conversations. It's like, um, I don't know the exact number, but how many players are on a team?
53 active, 16 P squad.
Right. So
And then
good
you got,
amount.
yeah, injured
Good amount,
reservists.
right? And then some of these companies have 1,000, 2,000 employees, and I try to explain to people like, shouldn't you be, if you're trying to be the best at this field, this industry, why aren't you operating like you're the Lakers, or a sports team that is completely all in on their
Investing
staff,
in your employees, yeah.
You have to invest in them. They have to be happy, they have to be strong, they have to be, very, they just have to feel that love, like, oh wow, you know what I mean? I'm the point guard here, or this person's the shooting guard. And I try to really explain to people that you need to be looking at it like that. If you're trying to perform, you're trying to have, while you're in the Bahamas because you already made it and all you're doing is jumping on the calls from time to time. What about the guy on the screen 14 hours a day? You got to make sure they're feeling the love and getting strong. So like, why not give them the access to training an hour a day, maybe physical therapy once a month, access to the saunas and cold plunges. And once they boil it down, like every company is different. Once they boil it down to, or break it down to, okay, we're a $2 billion company in revenue, but maybe in margin, what they're actually doing is a $200 million profit. You can you can sprinkle a little bit for the employees, maybe whether it's 50,000, 100,000 a year, 200,000, to make sure that they're feeling some love and support, Otherwise, it's a crash and burn. You see it all the time,
But that's also an investment.
Big time.
You got to invest back in your employees if you want to optimize their performance. Because at the end of the day, when you're the business owner, the hands of the business is really in the employees.
Big time.
They're the ones who dictate how much success now the rest of the business is going to have.
100%.
And so if they're not performing at their best, if they're struggling in mental health, different like that, their performance is not going to, and it's going to show. It's going to reflect that in how successful the business is. So I mean, and that goes back to like you talk about the LA Lakers. Like, what are they doing? They got. I mean, for us, when I was with the New York Giants, we have massage 3 times a week. We have PT people constantly. Like everything. I mean, they're providing us with lunch. We almost get too much food in training camp. There's guys that would joke, they're giving us too many meals. Well, they're just trying to make sure that our body is performing at the highest level.
Yeah,
we have a mental health coach. They provide everything possible for us. Why? Because they want to invest in our athletes because they want us to perform at the highest level that we can,
right?
So that we can win games. Why? Because that helps them and having a successful business and selling tickets and stuff like that.
Big time. So just know, like, that's my business model when I'm pitching to these
not bad
people. So it works.
No, that's perfect. And I think sports highlights that the best. It just simplifies it. Just with sports, my guy got to beat their guy. And it's just like that in business.
Yep.
Our DNs got to beat their DNs. But when it comes to a corporation, our content creators need to be able to beat their content
Big time.
creators. And
Still
how
a
do you
team.
do that? You got to put them in a position to succeed. You
Right.
got to invest in them. So
Yeah.
I think people lose sight of that.
Big time. I really love what Kenny Vaccaro is doing upstairs with G1 and how he's kind of curating that same philosophy and model. You know, these gamers are coming down here working out. They're doing the PT. They have meals that are getting delivered every week for them, you know? So there's no excuse. Now it's okay. I get you're tired, but you're fed. I get you're tired, but you're going in the cold plunge after this. You know, I get you're tired, but you're working out. So as a business owner, it really gets rid of all those excuses in a way too, that, you know, we're only human, but like there are a lot of reasons to have excuses if you are not being put in the best position to be successful. So I'm a big advocate for that, you know.
Absolutely.
But I think we know what's next, right? Day by day. Chess, baby. We got this. Right?
Hopefully it won't be too much longer.
Yeah, hopefully not too much longer. Well,
I tell Bach I'll see him on the course in a couple of weeks, and he's like, "No, you won't."
Exactly, and that's the mentality. That's the mentality. Well, I'm praying for you both, and we'll get some working in the turf soon. And I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you
Yes,
guys.
sir.